All right, here we go. Everyone starts dropping into the waiting room or into the Zoom room. Welcome, folks, to our November webinar about end of year giving. Can we even believe, Jordan, can you believe like we're at the end of 2023?
I really
Thanksgiving's
can't.
in a
It's
week.
gone so fast. Yeah. It's
Wow,
wild,
wow.
but
I know.
we're here.
We're here. We're at it again. Which it's fun. It's so good to see so many of you come back. Oh, and it's also going to be fun because as I see some of you pop in, one of the things I love to do during some of these webinars is do some show and tell and show some cool things that some of our customers are doing on their site. So a few of you on here are going to be surprised to see your website pop up on the screen during the webinar. So that's always fun when you're like, oh, woo, I made the feature. um, so yeah, let's see here. Great. Well, just as a reminder, as you're coming in, this is Zoom webinar, a little different than your Zoom meeting. We don't have a chat. You have a Q&A box. So you can type in a question there. So you want to find that in your Zoom panel. Type questions, say hello, whatever. Our team will see it. When we respond, it goes into the answered column and all of you will have access to that. So you'll be able to see answers come in as we go through this. All right, and as always, we are recording this. The recording already started. We will have this out on our support site within 24 hours. And you can come back and watch us over and over and over again because we're that good, right, Jordan? It should be an interesting one though. So we're always excited to put these together for you all. But I like to use our time well, and I know people are still going to be coming into the Zoom room, but let's go ahead and get started.
All right.
You ready? Yep.
Let's go.
All right, I'm starting us off today. This is our team for the webinar. We have Jordan here. She's going to take over for me after I finish my portion. I'm Allison James. And then moderating for us today is Christina Godfrey, Chrissy, and Brian, all from our team who are going to be able to answer any questions that you might have, drop into the chat room and the question and answer. I do always like to mention Brian's from our sales team. If you have any leads, guys, please, you can message in the chat right now into the question and answer and let them know if there's any nonprofits in your area that could really work with One Each for a website. We'd love to hear from you. All right.
Absolutely. And we are, just to chime in on that, we are doing a lot of end of year discounts for budgeting and then planning for 2024. So come reach out.
Great. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, and it's always fun. I've had several past customers who like left their jobs and they're somewhere else, and this week like I kept sending them to Brian. I'm like, "Ooh, here it comes another one." Who just like loved working with us and they're at a different employer now and they're like, "Hey, I want to work with you again." And we love that. That's like the best praise. So keep us in mind, please, as you talk to others. We always appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and talk about our agenda today. Our agenda today is about the end of year giving. We're going to give you some tips, some tricks, some thought process on promoting end of year giving. I'm going to branch out a little bit in my segment away from just website stuff. I'm going to be talking about just that whole marketing messaging piece in general. We work with 700 nonprofits. You guys do amazing work out there and you message differently. Some of you are super creative and we watch you and we go, wow, everyone needs to know this creativity. So we'll talk about some of the things you guys are doing really well and just some suggestions that we've seen along the way. I'm going to talk a bit about the QR code feature, which I know a lot of you use. Talk about all those different campaigns, whether it's an email campaign or social media campaign or snail mail campaign. And then of course, we're going to switch into our websites and our donation page tips and tricks. And I'm going to showcase a bunch of my favorite pages that are out there. And I said, I already saw a few of you drop into the Zoom room, whom I'm showing your page today. So surprise. And then Jordan's going to pick up with actually going into pages and doing some work with rotors and your checklist of things that we want to make sure you're paying attention to and you're doing. We're also going to talk about backlinks. That's a little cool Google Analytics thing. If you were on our webinar last month, we talked about it. So we're going to do some follow-up on that because It's really, it's something to know. And we'll talk about our mindful giving platform as well, which is another online donation piece. All right, let's do a poll. This is when I find out who's paying attention. So I want to find out what you guys are doing with QR codes. So I went ahead and launched a poll. You should see it on your screen. If you would take a moment, you can mark as many of them as you would like. So I'm wondering, are you putting QR codes on flyers? Are you putting them in social media posts? You put them in your snail mail? Are you not using them at all? So let's just see. You can click, again, all of them, none of them. If you click all of them, that'd be a little weird since the last ones I don't use them. But. And also as a reminder, our Q&A is open. Feel free to type in any questions there. Our moderators are watching for them and they'll be able to answer them. All right, looks like just about all of you have answered the question and people are still entering the room. We got a poll question up, folks. I'm gonna end the poll and share our result. So 85% of you are using on flyers. Great, you should. Don't make a flyer out there without a QR code. And it's nice if it goes to your donate page. In some cases, it's going to maybe an event or something else, but use those QR codes. In a lot of ways, we used to see a lot of like, text this word to go give. And that's a lot of work. Now, if you're at an event and you have a flyer with a QR code and they scan it and go to it, that's kind of almost replaced that in an event setting kind of thing where you can just give them the QR codes. We've had people do Dancing with the Stars events and different fundraisers, and they have QR codes for each person to give in support of that person at the event. And it goes straight to the website, straight to the donation page. Just makes a lot of sense and makes it a lot easier. Using them in social media posts, sure, we'll talk about some of those options there. And then on your letters, that's what I want you to think about, because I'm going to tell you from personal experience that one of the organizations I like to support had sent a letter with the little thing, you know, and I can fill it out and send it back and send a check. I'm not going to send a check. I want to give online. I want to donate. So they had a QR code. So I just did it from my phone. I was like, oh, thank goodness. That's so much easier, because today's society is writing fewer and fewer checks, you will find. But there are some who still will. And some of you aren't using them yet. Check it out. We'll talk a bit about that. But QR codes, I think, are something to consider for sure. So let me talk a little bit more about QR codes, when to use them, when not to use them, versus a hyperlink. So ultimately, your goal is to get them to that donation page or the page you're trying to reach as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So if I have a flyer and it has the URL and I have to type it in somewhere, I have to go to a computer and I have to type out a full URL to follow up on a flyer, that's more work than a QR code, right? So the QR code is you open the camera on your phone, like you're going to take a picture of it, and it instantaneously takes you there. The magic. It's so amazing. And we really saw this evolve more and more during COVID. So QR codes are just becoming commonplace. People are knowing how to use them more and more. And it's really an easy way for you to get them to you, where you want to go. So Instagram, I think, is a good place for a QR code because it's a harder place to have a link. You have to have a link tree and they got to go here to click to get to that. So that QR code can work nicely on an Instagram post, possibly. Snail mail is also a good way. We talked about that. Facebook, I would go for the hyperlink because it's something they can click and go straight to it, right? Constant Contact, again, I wouldn't put a QR code in a Constant Contact. I would put a hyperlink. I would put a hyperlink on a website. I see people put QR codes on websites to take them back to their own website to donate. And I'm thinking that's not necessarily the most efficient way to get to a donation page. So I would consider with a website, you just need the hyperlink. When you're texting, you just need the hyperlink. In your email signature, I've seen QR codes on an email signature. You can, but a hyperlink's kind of quicker. So think through whether or not you want to do a hyperlink or a QR code. So just some thoughts on that. QR codes, how do I make them? And if you want to chat in on the question thing, what you like to use for your QR codes, there are a lot out there. I will warn you, there's scamming systems out there for QR codes. So you want to be careful what you use. I personally use Adobe because I have an Adobe account. I use Photoshop and all the Adobe tools. So Adobe comes with a QR code feature. Canva comes with a QR code feature. And I know a lot of you use Canva. So just make sure if you're doing QR codes that you're using something you feel confident in and it's a platform that you trust. Okay, end of year resources. This is our end of year webinar campaign. So I do want to make sure that all of you are paying attention to some of the tools that are out there. Of course, Giving Tuesday is in and of itself a whole website that you can be a part of and be listed in. So your philanthropy folks, your philanthropists out there, use a variety of tools to decide how they're going to give their money. And some of them will reach out and go to these different sites to see what's out there and what is being featured and how people are being rated. GuideStar is a very popular one. It's now called Candid. And you want to make sure that your information is up to date on Candid. I believe the URL is still GuideStar. That's how I get to it. And you can get a rating. You could be a platinum member. You can have different levels. That's the kind of stuff is if you get a badge from Candid or from Charity Navigator that you feature it on your website. These are all things that let your donors know that you've been vetted. You are above board. Your information is out there, and that you are a valid nonprofit in your area. So those are just some tools. If you're not out there on those different websites, you should be. Check it out. All right. So we talked a little bit about the email, social media, snail mail campaigns. I call them snail mail. Letters. The letters in the mail. They still send letters in the mail sometimes. And we know that there's a certain population that is how you're going to get their donation. So we really haven't stopped it. Maybe taken it back a bit on the snail mails, but it's still definitely an option. We've seen statistics that a fourth of online giving happens in the month of December. So really gearing up towards Giving Tuesday, you know, after Thanksgiving, we got Giving Tuesday, we got December, lots of online donations. This is when a lot of donors like to give their money and make their give for the year. So hopefully all of you have a marketing calendar and a marketing campaign for how you're going to communicate. And usually it's all of these. You have an email campaign. So if you're using Constant Contact, MailChimp, any email tool, or even just email from your computer, or you're using social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, two most common for these, or you're doing your letters. When are you doing what? This date I'm sending this date I'm sending this is my messaging, this is what my messaging is around. So I'm not going to do a whole marketing campaign for you, but I definitely want to make sure everyone on this webinar is thinking about what their campaign and is hopefully working on a plan. And ultimately, what I would suggest is that all of those tools are driving traffic back to your donation pages. Get them to your website, give them to your donation portals, either be using hyperlinks or be using QR codes. Make sure you're getting them where they need to go as efficiently and quickly as possible. Have a nice, easy URL link, have a nice graphic, have a nice QR code, and just good messaging that compels donors to donate. So meaningful statistics, meaningful graphics, and keep them consistent. George's going to go into that a little bit more. But I want to share with you United Way Worldwide, and I know I have a lot of United Ways on this call, not all of you, recently released, and thank you guys all for coming back and sharing this with us. They recently released a whole campaign for a strategy for United Ways to send out electronic emails. They gave them templates, they gave them Canva graphics. There's like 10 different messagings set with dates and times and a whole marketing template for you. So if you're a United Way and you haven't seen this, reach out. We'll make sure you get access to it, or go into United Way Online. They have it on there as a resource. But this is some really good advice that they provide back to any nonprofit, quite honestly. And again, this is where we got the statement that a fourth of giving happens in December. Also talking about segmenting when you are doing your donation campaigns. A lot of you use Constant Contact. Constant Contact has a great ability to do different lists or different tags. You can tag donors. You could have your Young Giving Society. You might have leadership donors. You might have a women's group or an ethnic group of some sort that you have targeted campaigns with, that you work with. So you're able to set these up and target and segment your audience with your messaging. So that's something to think about doing also. And then I like this last one, which is people want to give to a person and not necessarily to an institution. So when you are sending out those emails, instead of it coming from an organization name, having it come from a person's name who represents the organization is often recommended, and it shows a higher statistic on return. All right. So your donation page on your website, little words of advice. Everyone should be checking on their website that if they go to their main domain URL and they type in a /donate, that it goes to their donation page. And if it doesn't, it should. So we need to get that set up, and your account manager or our support team can help you get that in place. Even if your donation page is not a one each donation page, if you're donating through a different platform, we can still get that URL set up to redirect to that donation page. I get asked all the time about whether or not to use the word donate or to use the word give or contribute or support. And I've read a lot about this, to be honest, and it goes all over the place. But donate is the most commonly recognized word by donors. They're actively looking for a donate button, and they're actively looking for that word. Some will say in messaging that support is a nicer messaging word. But again, donate's the button that most people are looking for when they're looking to give money. So that's the most common. Is your donation button easy to find? So hopefully it stands out in some way. It's very top, it's very visible. Maybe it has a background color. Also, make sure it's visible on mobile. Occasionally, it's not as visible in a mobile device, and it should be. So check your website on a phone, on a tablet. Make sure that donate button stands out really well. And if it doesn't, reach out to us and let us help you with that. You can have multiple donation pages. You don't just have to have one. And we have seen that. I have a sample out here that'll show you several donation pages on one page that link out to different causes. So that's always an option. And you're going to hear this a couple times during this webinar today, but we want you to test your page. Test it, test it, test it. Okay. There is so much in the back end in technology with your website. There's plugin updates. There's things going on all the time that could just break something. And we need you to be testing your own donation page on a regular basis, testing it on different devices and on different browsers. All right. I get to do my showcase now. Any questions coming in?
Actually, Allison, we had one I told her I would share with you guys.
Yeah.
Tina inquired on if you had any suggestions that they could use in a Lightbox / pop-up to feature their Giving Tuesday or end of year campaigns.
I will be showing a couple, so that's a great question. So as I do my show and tell, yeah, let me show you what we've had customers do. So, yep, it's coming. Hang in there. Good question. So here I've got a series of pages lined up that I'm going to show you, and this is just a show and tell. I always think it's interesting to see what others are doing with their donation page and how they're going about doing it. And whether you're using our platform or a different platform, doesn't matter. It's about how you present this information on your site. This is a web form. It's a Stripe donate form, and many of you are using these now, but not all of you are taking the time to put it on a page and put an image on the top of the page. So do keep in mind that all those forms are components, and you can have like a nice header image and you can have information above it. So just thinking about styling it out. This page literally launched this morning, and as I was helping her with it, I thought, well, this is a nice way to show, hey, what if like my Stripe donate form is going to do my credit cards, right? But I have a link to a PayPal, and I have some people who love PayPal. I have a link to Venmo, and I have people who love Venmo. You can put that information at the top of the page, and then anyone else can come down and do their form, right? So something to think about on that. Here you go, here's pop-up. So we do have a pop-up option. This is United Way Passaic of Passaic County, and they have this pop-up that goes to their giving page. They have their rotor not even rotating, it's just on the donate, because that's what they want to keep their focus on. So this is an additional cost to have a custom pop-up added to your site. You can turn it on and off. You can change the messaging, but it is a one-time custom programming of $400 to get this feature added to your site. Once you have it though. And here's another site who's done that as well. This is a Meals on Wheels. They have a pop-up on theirs about Together We Can Deliver. That also goes to their donation page. Okay. So some of you might have this theme. This theme is called Havasu. It's the only thing we have right now that has a drop down under the button. So that is kind of a neat feature. For their ways to give, they have the 4 different kinds. You can donate online, you can do a pledge card, planned giving, the tax checkoff. So that's a cool piece. But if I go to their main ways to donate page, they have the buttons to those 4 different pages. So you can access them by clicking here or by coming from the top. Here's another similar kind of idea where their donate page or their give page, they made graphics that they created for each of their different type of giving pages. As I mentioned earlier, you don't just have to have one kind of donate page. You might have one that's more around the pledging system if you're a United Way, or different groups that they support, small businesses, leadership giving, planned giving, stocks. So if you want to do the PayPal, if they got a shop for good, text to give, all of their different options are built into these graphics in this landing page. So small business is one that does come up if you ever run a specific type of campaign, whether it's a small business campaign or it's a sponsorship campaign, like be a sponsor for the year, corporate sponsor kind of thing. This campaign does have like all the sponsor logos on it, recognizing them, and then the sponsor form right at the bottom where they can either do an annual amount or they can make monthly installments. So just ideas, folks, just ideas. Let's see here. This is a capital campaign, building a new office. So they have some options for capital donors, including sponsoring rooms, pantry options for their soup kitchen, etc., that people can give and donate via that. And then we have a number of customers who use third-party tools. Completely good. Use whatever works for you and works best for your operations. So this is a harness button. We have seen these where it's a floating donate button that's in the corner that does open up to this particular feature. So that is always an option if you're purchasing into another platform. And then my last sample, and I saw Bruno out there, that's the one I said, oh, I'm gonna show you a page. This is Education Congo. Love working with these guys. And they recently wanted to rework their donation page with different donation needs and donation areas. So we have the donate to where is needed most, a scholarship fund, a named fund, and then special projects. And they are utilizing Donor Perfect, I think it is. And that is, again, completely good. So the decisions you have to make on like, what platform am I going to use when I do the donations? This drops right into their software. I get that. That's easier for some if it drops into your software and you have that ability to do that. Others like the fluidity of having a web form right on the page. So that's an option as well. So that's my show and tell there. If any of you are sitting there going, oh, you should show my site because I have a really cool donate page, put it in the question and answer. We're happy to share with others what you're doing. But you guys are doing amazing things out there, and we love seeing your work. And one of the great things is when you come back and tell us and show us what you've done, because we might not see it unless you tell us about it because you're out there creating on your own. All right. Miss Jordan, it's your turn.
All right, I will go ahead and snag the screen from you. And then just get myself my Q&A box pulled up here so I can track if questions are coming in. But that was a great segue into just a donation page checklist to kind of walk through as you're starting to prepare for end of year giving, for Giving Tuesday that's coming up, for all of the giving that's going to happen in December. This is just a great list to walk through and make sure that you've reviewed all your donation pages. It's got some things you've probably already thought about, some that is a good reminder. So the first one is just deciding on what type of payment options you want to offer for this giving season. Allison showed a lot of pages that had Venmo, it had a PayPal link, they had their Stripe web form built in there. So decide how many options you want to offer. I think having lots of options can be a good thing because there are some donors that are just very set. They want to donate PayPal, so they want to see that PayPal link on there, or they're comfortable switching around. So pick which ones you'd like to run, and then choose how you want to run those donation pages on your website. Is it a Stripe web form? If you are using CiviCRM, are you pulling a CiviCRM page in with those payment options? Are you using a third-party tool like Harness that you need to make sure you've got the code over to our support team so they can get that added to your site? So once you know those two questions, how many payment options you want to offer and how you're going to run it through your website, you can really start to walk through the rest of the items on this list. Another good thing to remember is to check and make sure you're collecting enough donor information. One of the things that I think is really neat is when you're able to reach back out to a donor and thank them personally for their donation and just kind of retain them as a donor. So make sure you're collecting things like their email or their address or even their phone number so that you can reach out on future campaigns that you have and just give them a nice thank you for their donation as well. Allison also showed a lot of good pages that just had great graphics on the page, a nice big banner image up at the top. If you're using that Stripe web form, you still have the ability to add in that header image on your pages and make sure you're kind of jazzing up your pages so they're a little more eye-catching to the donor. They draw the donor in a little more. Along with pulling in images, you also want to make sure that your donation pages is just following your organization's branding as well. If you're using a third-party tool, make sure there's places for you to add in your logo or your colors so that the donor doesn't get confused. It flows nicely, especially if they're leaving your site. And then another good area to think about is including a why on your donation page. If you have a specific cause that you're raising money for, or if you have the ability to share exactly what these donations are going to be used for, that's great information for the donor to have and makes them feel more connected to that giving process. If you are able to share a why above your giving page, above that form at the top there, that's a great place to do it. Along with that, disclosing how those donations are used. I pulled this off of this Campaign Now page that I'll share the link out so everyone can see it, but it said that 75% of donors seek information about the nonprofit's impact. So your donors are wanting to know where their donations are going to. They want to see what's happening, where you guys are impacting the most. So if you can include that right on your donation page, I think that just helps connect with those donors even more. Other things to check, do you have recurring giving as an option? Are you offering just one time on that page? You may want to add also the option to make those donations recurring. You also want to maybe consider passing that credit card processing fee on to the donor itself. I know we've got a few Stripe web forms out there that have the option to cover the processing fee. I know we've got, I think, Allison, what, 50-50 on sites that want to automatically add that or give the option still. Giving an option is always great. I would definitely put the option out there if you don't have it, so that that donor can choose to take that on. Another suggestion is to start with your largest donation amount as the first option to give. I've seen a lot of payment pages where the smallest number, $5, $10, it kind of starts with the small numbers and grows big. Consider switching it and putting those biggest numbers at the top. Maybe your donors will choose not to scroll quite as far, and they'll make a larger donation. This ties into last month's webinar a little bit, but if we have any of you using Google AdWords, consider promoting your donation pages with your Google AdWords program. And then, like Allison mentioned, make sure those donation pages are linked and easy to see. They're up within your header menu or your main menu. You've got a good rotor image so that the donor can find that donation page really easily and get there. We also, the last two are probably the most important, test. We want to make sure that you have pulled up your donation page on every screen size you can. Pull it up on your phone, pull it up on your computer, have your friend pull it up, look at it across different browsers. Pull it up on Safari, on Firefox, on Google Chrome. Those are kind of the top 3 browsers that we see. Make sure that it looks nice for your donors no matter what device that they're on, and do that early. Technology is technology, and sometimes we need to adjust a couple of things. So the earlier you're able to pull up and test those, we can get in and make any adjustments if you need. And then testing as well. If you can run a transaction through that donation page and just make sure you're seeing everything show up within your payment processor. If you're using Stripe, are you seeing all the data that you're wanting to see within Stripe? Did that process go through correctly? Test it before you're launching that donation page so that you don't have any issues as it comes up. All right, that was a lot of check boxes to go through, but I think all that are helpful. The next thing that I wanted to jump into goes hand in hand with the campaign that Allison was talking about, scheduling out a campaign, if it's snail mail, if it's an email campaign. One way to help go along with that is scheduling out your rotor images to match those campaigns. If you didn't know, you can schedule your rotor images out to publish and unpublish on specific days and specific times, which can be very helpful. You don't have to log in on a Saturday morning and take down a rotor image that was promoting an event if you were using that. So if you didn't know where those are, they should be on the right-hand side under scheduling options. If you don't have them, reach out to your account manager or submit a support ticket and they can get that added. But let's walk through that. Whoops. Okay. So on our Papago demo site, I have this create an opportunity, which pulls directly from that United Way brand campaign. It's the very first line as a rotor image that's linking back to my Giving Tuesday page. And I had this rotor image set to publish today, and I have it scheduled to come down later on. So if we take a look within our content management filter, if you didn't know, you should also see a scheduled content tab up here at the top. And this will show you any content you have that is set to publish and unpublish. So you can very easily see if you have multiple rotor images that are scheduled at a time, you can quickly come here at a glance and see what you have here. So this is that create an opportunity rotor image. I have it scheduled to unpublish on the 16th at 11 p.m. And if I have it unpublished, or if I have the unpublished date set, I want to get a new rotor image created to replace that one as it comes down. So to do that, we are simply going to create a brand new rotor image. Let's get our image added up here. Maybe we'll call this one Giving Tuesday. We'll add in our alternative text. I'm going to link this to Giving Tuesday page that I have here. And we can say help support our cause. We'll put a little bit of text over here. Okay, once I've got my rotor image set, I'm going to come over to the right-hand side under those scheduling options. And this is where I can tell the site, I need this rotor image to go up on the 16th. I have my other one coming down at 11 p.m. So I want to schedule this one to go up at 11:01 p.m. to immediately replace that rotor image that came down. And I can also set an unpublished date. Maybe I need this image to run for 2 weeks at a time. I can have it come down on the 30th at 8 a.m. And you can always come back in and change these dates as well. And we'll go ahead and save that rotor image. You should see a note that says it's saved, and you, if you see the little kind of red or pink background behind it, it's just showing that it is unpublished at the moment. You'll see that it shows unpublished on your site. Here's that new rotor image because that date hasn't reached it yet. If we look at our scheduled content tab, I should now see both rotor images with my published on dates and unpublished on dates. So these are great to build out, especially if you want to throw in some holiday rotor images just to keep that website fresh. So let's take a look at that rotor image again. This is linking directly to a donation page, but we also have our donate button up here in the header. So there's two different areas right on the home page that a donor can access the donation page. I pulled in just a Stripe web form here and then added a header image just to give it a nice look and feel on the page. I would also suggest adding a reason why or what your campaign is going to be collecting donations for up at the top, just to connect with that donor further. Okay, any questions on the rotor images or the scheduling feature?
No, I don't see any, but was good.
Okay. One thing I will point out on that scheduling feature, I have seen it be a little finicky in the past. I would suggest testing that as well. Schedule a rotor to go up, for the same day, just a little bit later, and just make sure that that feature is working. If it is not, have our team take a look and they can make some adjustments if that isn't publishing when you need it to be. All right. I'm going to switch back now to talk a little bit about.
So
go ahead.
Just a second. Amanda, I see that you've raised your hand. If you could look for the Q&A box in the Zoom, then and type your question there, that'd be great, because then we can go ahead and answer it for everyone. Okay, go ahead.
Wonderful. We'll look for that question to come in. I wanted to switch gears slightly and just talk about backlinks. And if you were on our webinar last month we had a guest speaker, Jeremy Weedman, who went through kind of everything Google Ad Grants, SEO a little bit. Backlinks got brought up, and they are a pretty neat and pretty simple thing that you can add to your website. So I wanted to just bring them up again here to go through what they were. So a backlink is simply just a link to your website on someone else's website. So if our One Each website wrote a blog post about you and we have a link that goes directly to your website, that is a backlink. And Google really likes backlinks. It tells Google that you have important things to say on your site, and it will actually rank your site higher within its search results. So backlinks are very a very easy way to improve your overall SEO of your website and boost any donation pages that you have. A good backlink would say more than just click here. It would maybe be your organization's name that's then linked back to your website, or a more clarifying verbiage. Maybe it's, hey, support, the United Way, or support this Meals on Wheels campaign, and that entire verbiage would be linked back to your website. There is also a way, if you have been exploring Google Search Console at all since last month, if you've gotten connected there, there should be a way to see all the backlinks you have out there within a link section within Google Search Console. So you can manage and see if you have if you have any that are out there. It should show up there. So this is a great reminder this time of the year, but really all throughout the year. You can talk to your partner organizations if they are featuring you on their website, if they're helping to promote a campaign that you're running. Make sure they have a backlink to your website on their website that is a good backlink that's using your organization's name, or that's talking about the campaign that they're running for you.
And you can offer to do that back to them. So, if you have sponsor logos for folks, you can link back to them. You want them to link back to you. Google trusts everyone else's links more than you trying to push yourself. So it's a clever way of really promoting your own organization, your own website.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right. I also wanted to spend a little time talking about mindful giving. And if you haven't heard about mindful giving before, mindful giving is a new product that OneEach has developed to help with in-kind donations. And end of year giving is a great time to utilize mindful giving. If you have the tool, now's the time to connect with your account manager. Make sure you've got your campaign up and active. But essentially what mindful giving does is help you build a product catalog of in-kind items that you're needing. So if you are running a Christmas wish list campaign for kids, this is the time to find all of those really fun toys on Amazon and build that product catalog out with all of those items on there. With our tool, the donor can go directly to your website. They can purchase an item off of your product catalog, which will take the item from Amazon and ship it directly to your organization. So it's a really neat way to capture those. It also means that the donor is technically giving 100% cash donation, which means it's tax deductible for them as well, even though it's collecting an in-kind item. So if you haven't heard about mindful giving and you want more information, talk to your account manager. If you know someone that maybe doesn't have a website with OneEach, but could really benefit from a product like this, reach out to Brian and he can get them set up. But I want to showcase some live mindful giving pages that are out there and talk a little bit about the statistics that we've seen just so far, because it's pretty neat.
Oh.
Let's go. Hold on.
We'll come back to that question in just a second. We're not ready for that.
All right.
Go ahead.
This is Ronald McDonald House Charities of Greater Cincinnati. They launched their mindful giving page with us back in June. And since June, they have received, I think, over let me pull up my numbers here, over $7,000 of in-kind donations just since June. So not even maybe six months that it's been up. They just recently started a new campaign here in November, and since November they've gotten $2,500 of in-kind donations. That's just 16 days that this new campaign has been launched. So they've got a great paragraph up here explaining what mindful giving is. They've got their wish list of items for donors to come in and choose from. They can very easily pick a couple of items and then check out through their cart. The products will immediately get shipped from Amazon directly to the organization, which I love.
And what's really great about this is the donor is actually making the purchase to Ronald McDonald House. They're getting that tax write-off instead of like to Amazon. It's not like wish list. This is different. They're giving straight to the organization, And that organization, Ronald McDonald House, knows who that donor is and is forming a relationship, because we're trying to reach our donors in different ways. And we have so many donors who want to buy a tangible item. They want to buy gifts for kids at Ronald McDonald House, or coats or shoes. This is such a fabulous way to broaden your reach to a whole nother set of donors.
Mm-hmm. And one of
I
the
love
things
this.
that's
That's
different
so
about
great.
this, yeah, one of the things that's different about this than just having a wish list out there is that because they are purchasing it through you, you get all that donor data. You can actually see who it was that bought all these items, and you can send out a personalized thank you card or retain their information for another campaign that you're getting ready to launch. Another cool one, this is North Shore Humane Society. They launched their Mindful Giving back in June as well. And they had kind of an interesting thing happen in July. They sent one email out to their donors, just one simple email that had a link to this page. And within, I think, 8 days, they had $3,600 of in-kind donations that all got purchased off their Mindful Giving page. So they were running low on supplies for all the animals that they have. They sent one message out and received such great feedback from their donors. So it's a pretty powerful tool, especially if you have really engaged donors. If you're able to just send out, this direct link to say, hey, we're ready for more, they can really respond pretty quickly and feel like they're a part of that process, because they can pick those items exactly what they're wanting to give. I'm also going to feature Northeast Louisiana. They also just set up their new campaign, I think last week. I know Chrissy helped with that. Was that on the 6th of November, Chrissy, if I'm remembering correctly?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Perfect. So this campaign is very fresh. It's just a week, just a little over a week into it. They're doing a To Our Children with Love campaign. They did a great introduction page that talks about what this program is, why they are running with it, and then you can choose to go ahead and sponsor a foster child, which brings users directly to their donation catalog. The other neat thing about Mindful Giving that we can do is we can add in personalized messages to each individual item too. So what they have done is chosen to put a quantity needed verbiage in here. At the moment, it doesn't tick down, although that is in the works, but this could even be a message on how this item is going to be used specifically, just to further connect with that donor. So you can add in any text that you need here. And when I pulled up this campaign this morning, just since it started, just over a week ago, they've already gotten $2,100 worth of in-kind donations off of this page. So it works fast. They all get shipped directly to your organization, so you don't have to worry about coordinating pickup and drop off times with the donor. A nice email, thank you note, and receipt gets emailed off to the donor as soon as they make that purchase. They can hold on to that come tax time. The process is very, very smooth. It tries to make this as easy as possible for the organization.
Hey, I have a question that came in.
Sure.
Okay, so the question is, first off, do we, the organization, get to pick the products, and do they have to all be from Amazon, and do I need a special Amazon account? So 3-parter. Great
questions. The first one, yes, you can pick all of the items that go on this wish list. They do have to come from Amazon. So our Mindful Giving tool requires that you have 2 things. One, it works with Stripe as a payment processor. And the second one is having an Amazon business account. So we, with the help of Amazon Business, run this product. The kind of nuts and bolts of it is, once you curate your list, seen here, you would pick Amazon links. So you'd go search Amazon, find all the products you're wanting to add. You'd add them to your page. When the donor comes to your page, they can add items to their cart. They can check out. When they check out, their payment does not go to Amazon. Their payment actually goes directly to you guys, to your Stripe account. at the same time that you receive their payment, Amazon will then ship you the items that they purchased off this wish list, and then they'll send an invoice for those items to you. You'll already have the funds, so you can pay that invoice directly from your Stripe account. So that's kind of how that process works. Let's see there. I see some more questions coming in here.
Oh,
Can you customize the thank you acknowledgement? Yes, you can. Our team can work with you. Ronald McDonald House of Greater Cincinnati, they put a great donor story and picture on that thank you card that goes out, so you can make it as customized as you want or as simple as it needs to be. Yes, this also, Tina, this does work with Stripe at the moment. That's the only one we have it set up for right now. So it will require that you have a Stripe account. There are nonprofit rates for Stripe that you can use to get out there too.
yep. I
I
think you
think
got
I get
them.
all the questions.
You did. You
Awesome.
did good. You jumped in there and got them.
Very
And I do also want to point out one of the cool things. I don't know if you've ever done this with pulling items like from Amazon that you would want to feature. You have the ability to like select vendors in your area. You have the ability to select vendors by like different categories, disabilities, ethnicities, I even think, and some like military, whatever, business owned, that kind of stuff. There's some choices for you when you're trying to narrow down what products you want to pick. And if things are on sale and discounted or have different stuff, you get to take advantage of that. They have specials that your Amazon rep can work with you on identifying.
Yeah. It's been pretty neat to walk through this process. We are also refining the tool more. So we've gotten some feedback from some of the Mindful Giving campaigns that are live and are out there. And we have a roadmap that we're working on to even develop it further to add in more features. So it's a really neat, really neat tool. If you can take advantage of it, we definitely suggest it. So connect with your account manager, or if you don't have an account manager, connect with Brian and he can get you set up there. All right, I'm going to jump back to our poll question.
All right, let's launch our poll. So we don't know what topics we're doing next year, Jordan.
we
have December is figured out, but
yes,
January the topics are wide open. So here we go.
Yeah, we are starting to do some planning for next year. We have really enjoyed doing these webinars on a monthly basis. We see you guys coming to us. That tells us that you guys are also liking them and benefiting from these as well. So as we plan out our topics, we want to make sure we're covering what you guys want to see as well. So if you can take some time to answer this poll question, what are you most looking to see next in webinars? If there is an option on here that you don't see, feel free to put that in the Q&A chat. We want to make sure we're capturing everybody's topics, but we couldn't put a fill in the blank option in this poll. So if you have a topic that is not in the poll, go ahead and throw that in the Q&A chat because we want to make sure we address that. All right. This is how we get you. We do a poll question at the beginning to make sure you're paying attention, and then we do one at the end too to make sure we still
see if
got
you're
you.
still paying attention. Hey, I do want to mention as you guys are wrapping up on the poll questions, thanks for responding to this. If you haven't gone back and looked at the Q&A and on the answered tab, someone asked for all the links to all the donation pages that I showed during my segment, and I stuck them all out there. So if you are looking for, if you saw one of those pages and thought, wow, that page was kind of cool, go check for that question. Amanda was the one who had asked the question about the different pages I showed. So I put them out there for you. All right, I'm going to end the poll. You guys have pretty much all answered. They're paying attention, Jordan. They did good.
All right.
Let's see. I'll share those results. Top winner, pictures. I knew it would be the top winner. I just knew it. I know pictures continue to be a challenge. And what I discovered, and we asked this question not too long ago in one of our webinars, is that like a good majority of you guys are using Canva. So I've been this Photoshop lover for so many years. I've explored Canva more and more. I've actually had some of you guys teach me what you're doing. So if you have cool things that you've done with your pictures, we like to feature what our customers are doing. So definitely if you're like really good in that area and you want to send an email to me or Jordan or to your account manager and let us know some of your thoughts on any of these topics, we'd love that. What was second? Second was the homepage and then events. All right, well that's a good start for us. We will incorporate some of those for sure in our next set of webinars that we'll put together.
Yeah, thank you
But I
guys.
think we're good. We're sticking with the third Thursday of the month. That's been working. If you can't make these, they're always recorded. Usually within 24 hours, they're up on the support site, and we have the link when we send your auto reply out after the webinar. But we thank you guys so much for attending these and for all your feedback.
All right, gonna move to closing details. As always, we record every single webinar. They get posted directly to our support site. Support.com/webinars is a quick link to get there, but you can find all of the webinars we've done. We've been doing this a little over a year now, so there's quite a few in there that you can go and check out. If you need to submit a support ticket, let's say you're testing those donation pages and you need something adjusted, you can always reach out to our support team at support.oneinch.com. They can also add that scheduling feature to your rotor images if you don't see that on there. Book some time with your account manager to walk through your donation pages and help get yourself ready for end of year giving. We've got their meeting links up here at the top. And then of course, we've got one more webinar planned for the end of this year in December. This one will be website goals for 2024, what you should be doing. If you haven't already started planning for it, we'll have another checklist in there as well. That is our November webinar. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Do we have any other
We have lots of thank
questions
yous
before we go?
I think we are good. I think we are good. So thank you all very much. And we hope this has been informative for you. We'll catch you in December, if not sooner.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.